smaller. Ah. All right. My room is a mess. I'll make this really small so you can barely see it. And I'll angle this up because it's bad. I'm currently moving. So like everything is just everywhere while I'm not doing that stuff. Um Let me put in a background real quick. Um, do 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 do. Boom. Cool. So, ooh, sorry for the not being super prepared. Cool. And then there we go. Visible. I feel like that's not too much. There we go. All right. So a lot of things happened this week. I think we should first start off with the missions that happened. And because this has been a long week, I feel like we should well, not a long week, but I feel like since this is the first one that we're doing of this, I feel like we should start with like early last week, and early last week started off with this from Landscape Space. So um yeah. So sorry for if this seems very unscripted. I was really busy today, so this is the this is how it's gonna go. So today, or not today, so on Saturday, May 17th at 12:12 a.m. Yeah, so Landscape Space, which is a Chinese company, launched launched a bunch of satellites, six to be exact. The mission's name was Six Satellites, which is super super useful. And it was launched on a Zhukwei 2. That's how you pronounce it. And like I had never even heard of this rocket before, but it's so it's launched a couple of times. So we're on like the fourth successful flight, which is pretty cool. Yeah, so it has a success rate of 80% right now. But so basically it launched six satellites into orbit. They were like mostly Earth's observation and academic uh, institutional satellites, um, with multiple, just very basic names like Tianyi. It was just Tianyi, and they all went into a sun synchronous orbit. Okay. I'm back. Okay. So yeah, launched from Jiquan. Yeah. Blue Arrow Aerospace. So that was the last one. Okay. Well, yeah. There's the Juque. And then there was the Electron Curie one that happened. And yeah, Electron, very popular, well known. It's, you know, it's well known. They launched how many? 36 satellites. Oh, have 36. There was only one. And it launched from New Zealand because, of course, it did. And yeah, watch it. Interesting. Oh yeah, this was the Sea God Seas, and so it was like a visual satellite thing going on. Oh, yeah. Anyway, there's that, and then there was India's fun Kerbal Space Program looking rocket, which had a third stage failure. Do they know what happened to the third stage? So no, there's nothing on here about what happened with that one. Oh yeah, the third stage veered off its path. So I guess they detonated it. They gave it a little explosion. You know, that's unfortunate. This is a big rocket. So I guess this is the first, second, third is probably up there. That's pretty big. I mean, how tall is it? Where is it? I mean, it's not super tall, but that's pretty cool. Then we had a Series 1S from China. This is like the coast of China, which is like I guess it's like a cool place. It was out in the water. The Oriental Spaceport Launch Ship, Area 1, China coastal waters. Which is like out in the ocean, which is pretty cool. But of course, because it's like a Chinese launch company, there's like barely any video of it, which kind of sucks because they launch so many rockets, but like there's really nothing to show for it, like other than payload in space. But like they launched one, two, three, four times this week, and like you can barely watch the video. Like it's not really anything, which is just kind of sad. It's kind of annoying. Anyway, there is a Long March 7A, or yeah, Long March 7A was after that. And unknown communication satellite. Something tells me that isn't for communications. Wing Chang. This is sus. Anyway, there was Falcon 9 Block 5 that launched a bunch of Starlink satellites. Some was at the Cape, just average Cape things going on, which is, as it normally is. just the Cape. Then there was Connecticut. This one had a bunch of cool things on board. It also is a cool looking rocket. Like, let's see if I can zoom in on that. Like, it has a funky shape to it. And I kind of like it. It's a funky boy. But it's a 4-stage rocket. That's crazy. Anyway, this was also named 6 satellites. And it's from CAS Space, which is just the Chinese space agency. But they carried 6 satellites to a sun-synchronous orbit, including commercial observation satellites Tianjin 304 and Tianjin 402A. Yeah. It had a Cube satellite on board, just named Cube. That's kind of funny. Yeah. Maybe next time I'll have more to say about these things. Then, yeah, here's another classified payload from a yeah. Soyuz, so the Soyuz 2.1b/Fregat-M with the launch of Cosmos 2588 just being just horrifically like classified. There's like nothing, couldn't even watch it, which yeah, it's just, you know, Russian military satellites. That's super fun. And then there was a Falcon 9 that launched from Vandenberg on Friday, and it was actually really cool. I live in Central Florida, but you could see it crossing over to the sky, deploying the satellites as it was going across the sky over Florida, which was really cool. And then there was the Starlink Group 1222, which was fairly simplistic in nature. It launched from Cape Canaveral, landed on the shortfall at Gravitas, which is crazy. It is the 468th Falcon recovery attempt. That's crazy. And it's the 110th consecutive successful Falcon 9 landing. That's crazy. Anyway, that was last week. This week, we're set to see some really cool things. So, upcoming, the first one is on Tuesday. Wow. So there's nothing tomorrow. There's just nothing going on tomorrow or today. Wow, Tuesday is a packed day. Okay. So on Tuesday, starting at 12:14 p.m., so about noon Florida time, there's going to be a Starlink launch from Vandenberg Space Center or Space Force Station, Space Force Base. On board will be a bunch of, or one satellite. Yeah, the first Starlink launch of an SSO inclination in over 2 years. The flight path will be nearly directly south and slightly west with an inclination of 97.61, and on board will be 24 Starlink V2 mini satellites. All right, and it'll be launched from SLC-4E in Vandenberg Space Force Base, California. Which is pretty good. It'll be the 115th orbital launch attempt of 2025 and 63rd SpaceX mission of 2025. That's pretty cool. Then later that day at 7:30 p.m. Florida time, we have Starship Flight 9, which earlier that day we're going to get a thing from gonna get a update. So I'll probably have a lot more to talk about next week. So the ninth flight of Starship and Super Heavy, they're going to be reflying Booster 14, and they're going to be flying, which was already previously flown on Flight 7, so 2 flights ago, and then the Starship itself is it's 35. Yeah, it's 35. That'll be its first flight. What's cool is that we have a turnaround time of 131 days when this thing will have launched, which is pretty cool. It'll be flying just south over over Florida, where multiple people are expecting it will break up again. And honestly, I'm gonna try and watch that. I'm gonna drive to South Florida to see it explode if it does. But if it doesn't, then I just see it move across the sky, which is also pretty cool. Yeah, Booster 14 will not be attempting to be recovered, but will land in the ocean, which is kind of cool. Yeah, they're doing engine out capability test, which is also pretty cool. And then even later that day, at 9:30 p.m. Florida time, we have Rocket Lab doing full steam ahead, which has a Black Sky Gen 3 mission 2. It will the commercial constellation of Gen 3 satellites has the capability to produce images with 30 centimeter resolution and to host multiple sensors, including shortwave infrared. Cool. This will be launched from New Zealand later on Tuesday. Then we get to Wednesday. Wednesday isn't nearly as packed, but it will still have some launches. There'll be a Falcon 9 Block 5 with Starlink Group 1032 launched from Kennedy Space Center in Florida on LC-39A. It'll land on Just Read the Instructions. And on board will be 27 V2 mini Starlink satellites. Then on Wednesday, we have a Long March 3BE launching a Tianwen 2. Is an asteroid sample return mission previously named Zheng He after the 15th century naval explorer admiral. Isn't he the one who did the massive ship? He had the massive ship, didn't he? It will target Komo'olewa. That's cool. So technically, okay, so Komo'olewa is technically a moon of Earth. Technically. Which is kind of cool. But they're going to collect about 1,000 grams of samples from its surface. Using both touch and go and anchor and drill approaches. Returned at about 2.5. Oh man, I'm going to be watching Tianwen. This is going to be a cool flight. Yeah. Look at those 4 rocket strap-on boosters it'll be launching. Long March 3B is a funky rocket. It's actually a really funky rocket. Then there will be a Long March 2D with a unknown payload. So some sort of classified satellite launching from Jiuquan Satellite Launch Center, and I think the other one was also from Xichang Satellite Launch Center. Where's Xichang? Where is this? Oh, yeah. Okay, so it's like all the way over here. And then Jiuquan is all the way up in the northern area, all the way up here. near Mongolia. Cool. Yeah, so hidden satellite. After that, we have a launch on Friday, which is going to be a Falcon 9 Block 5 GPS 3 SV08. And that'll be on Friday at 1:23 p.m. It was originally scheduled for a ULA Vulcan rocket, but reassigned to Falcon 9. As a result, GPS 3F1, originally planned to launch on a Falcon Heavy, will now launch on Vulcan. Okay, cool. This will land on the autonomous spaceport drone ship. And it is the... Oh. I think they're just... It hasn't been scheduled yet. So it'll be the new GPS satellites that the Air Force announced in 2008. And it is has anti-jam capabilities. Cool. Well, that'll be launching on Friday. And then we have, yeah, that's, nope, there's one more on Friday. On Friday, there will be Starlink Group 1118. Landing on course, I still love you, because it's launching from Vandenberg on LC4E, or Slick 4E. And it will do low Earth orbit with Starlink V2 mini satellites. Cool. That's cool. Yeah. So that's it for this week. For like space flights and stuff like that. There was some other things. Let me see if I can pull it up real quick on my other screen. It was a So Blue Origin just announced their transporter, which this thing is cool. So this right here will be a basically a high energy transporter, and honestly, this is something that we need. It's supposed to have very low what's it called? Where it's able to basically able to go into space and not like burn off its propellant. Yeah, its propellant won't boil off. It has a low propellant boil off rate, like a really low one, because they have some sort of repressurization thing going on, which is pretty cool. But yeah, this is really all I have for this week. This was mostly just to get the ball rolling. This is a poor showing of the first time, but it's okay. So yeah, that's pretty much all I got going. That's all I got to say. Yep. All right. Well, cool. That's going to be